All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And I wanted to do a response video to a video that was done by several brothers, starting with, Manak Tazakba here, and, from South Carolina. And of course, the brother Yasha Wamba, who, one of his channels is Remnant Saved 144. Now, I wanted to do my response to it because once again, you got this serpent, you got this snake here, Vocab Malone, who's once again trying to teach that every nation under heaven can be saved and receive salvation. And that is absolutely not true. Okay, salvation is for one nation of people and one nation of people only. And the Lord has made that clear that salvation is only for the Israelites. Okay, now Vocab Malone went on to speak about the woman at the well. Okay, the woman at the well was a heathen. Okay. But anyways, let's get right into it. I'm not going to go on, too much of a rant. So, he went to John 10:16, right, to try to justify other nations being able to receive salvation. So let's read this and get the proper understanding of John 10:16. John chapter 10, verse 16. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Now, if we scroll up here, right, Yahweh Shai was going into how, you got false prophets out there who act as sheep in wolves' clothing, but inwardly they're hirelings. Okay, and a hireling is basically a contractor who basically works for a third party, or who basically works for someone else. That's what a contractor is. Now, if you're under a 501c3 charter, then you would be a contractor who basically works for Esau Edom. You work for the government. Okay. And if you work for the government under their contract, they have rules and regulations to things you can and cannot say concerning the Holy Scriptures. So under their contract of the 501c3 charter, you're not allowed to speak against the CHIP. You're not allowed to talk about the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, which is the CHIP. You're not allowed to speak against the VACCINE. You're not allowed to speak about Babylon and how Babylon will be destroyed by fire. You're not allowed to mention the true name of the Heavenly Father. You're not allowed to mention the true name of his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. So there are several things that you're simply not allowed to speak about. And if you're even caught speaking about these things, then under their contract, they have a right to discontinue your 501c3 charter, which indefinitely makes you tax exempt. You're exempt from taxes which in return allows you to make a lot more money on your checks. So when you're tax exempt, this is basically the same as taking the bag, because you're maximizing the payments you receive whenever you receive your checks. And essentially, this is what it means to be tax exempt, so you could better understand. Excuse me. So that's what a hireling is. A hireling is a contractor that basically works for a third party, such as a government, an agency, a corporation, a organization. So John 10:12, but he that is a hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. And that's basically Esau Edom. He is the sheep. Esau Edom is the wolf. He's the main wolf, and his agenda is really to scatter the sheep. But what did the Lord say? The Lord's elect are basically like they're named on the palm of his hand. And like Yahweh Shai said, none can pluck the Lord's elect out of his hand. Okay, 144, it's 1044, 144, the water Yahweh Shai. It says the hireling fleeth because he is a hireling. He is a contractor and careth not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd and know my sheep. And you see verse 14 right there is what? Yahweh Shai know his sheep. Who are the Lord's sheep? They are Israelites. The Lord's sheep are Israelites. Okay, these are the chosen elect among the Israelites. Yahweh Shai is speaking of his elect men here. I am the good shepherd and know my sheep, and I am known of mine. Okay, as the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. So let's come over here and let's check this out. Okay, John 10:16 in the NLT. Let's read this. Okay, hit search. So this is John chapter 10, verse 16 in the NLT. John 10:16 in the NLT. So this is the book of John, chapter 10, verse 16 in the NLT. I have other sheep too that are not of this sheepfold. Okay, I must bring them also. They will listen to my voice, and there will be one flock. Now, who is this other sheep that Yahweh Shai is referring to? Well, I'm going to get to that answer soon enough. This is John 10:16 in the Good News Translation, the GNT. There are other sheep which belong to me. Right, because they are his people and they are of the elect. So there are other sheep which belong to me that are not of this sheep pen. Okay, I must bring them too. They will listen to my voice, and they will become one flock and with one shepherd. Okay, And when did Yahushua fulfill this? When Paul came on the scene. Now, before I get to that, right, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. Deuteronomy chapter 32, because when you go to Deuteronomy 32, the Lord goes into how Israel provoked him to anger. So right here, right? This is going into how the Israelites, our people, provoked the Lord to jealousy with their strange gods and abominations, right? And how they provoked him to anger. So when we read Deuteronomy 32, verse 21, right, it says this: they, the Israelites, the rebellious ones, have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. The vanities are talking about the idols which Israel was upholding and worshiping. And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Now, who is this that Yahushua is referring to that is not a people? This is a prophecy right here. This is talking about the Israelite Gentiles in the New Testament. Okay, but let's continue reading. It says, they have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. And this is talking about the Israelite Gentiles. And can we confirm this? Yes, we can. Okay, we come over here, right? Let's go to Romans. Okay, let's go to Romans chapter 10, verse 19, because Paul literally reiterated the same thing that Moses said in Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. Okay. So this is Romans 10, verse 19. But I say, did not Israel know? For Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people. Who is this talking about when it says they that are no people? This is talking about Israelites who were uncircumcised. Okay. These are the Israelites who were looked down by the Jews, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, who were circumcised. Okay, who were keeping the customs to a certain degree, but was rebellious against the gospel. Okay, what did Yahushua say in the book of Matthew? He said a prophet is without honor save in his own country. So, just as, our people rejected Yahushua, when Paul went to go present the gospel to the circumcised to get them in a right state of mind, they rebelled against Paul. So what happened? Paul turned to the Gentiles, to the Israelite foreigners, which are the Gentiles of the New Testament. Paul basically turned to the people which were not a people. And the reason why the Israelites were called not a people was because they were uncircumcised and they were not keeping the customs that the circumcised Jews were keeping. So these Israelites, which were uncircumcised, which were not keeping the customs of the Lord, the law, statutes, and commandments, right? They were basically called an outcast. They were called not a people. So Romans 10 and 19, but I say unto you, okay, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them, by these Israelite Gentiles in the New Testament that are no people, and by a foolish nation I will anger you. Right? And you better best believe that when a lot of Israelites, which look like the people of the other nations, started to wake up and to accept the gospel, a lot of the Israelites, the Jews who were circumcised, they became jealous and angry. And now you start to see why they wanted to kill Paul. You see, because Paul was basically an apostle sent to the uncircumcised Israelites who were called Gentiles, who were called Greeks. And a matter of fact, let's go to Acts, the 2nd chapter real quick. Then I'm going to come back here. Let's go to Acts chapter 2. What is that? Is it verse 6 or verse 8? I don't know it exactly. But I'm going to do this. Okay, it might be 2 verse 5. Okay, this is the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. So if these were Israelites coming from every nation under heaven, that means that these were Israelites who were also called Jews, who might have looked like people of the other nations. So these were Israelites who were called Jews dwelling in Jerusalem that looked like Hamites, Africans. They looked like Ishmaelites, Arabians. They looked like East Indians, Elamites. They looked like Moabites, Chinese people. They looked like Ammonites, Japanese people. They looked like Edomites, so-called white people. But these were Israelites because their father's lineage on their father's side went back to a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native Indians. Because your father dictates your nationality. The proof of that is right here in the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. And they assemble all the congregation together on the first day of the 2nd month, and they declare their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upwards by their polls. You see that? And the key point here is what? And they declared their pedigrees, their lineage, after their families by the house of their fathers. And why is that? Because the man carries the seed. Okay, the man carries the seed. In which when you look up the word seed, it goes back to the Greek word sperma, which is where you get sperm from. Okay, so the man was the head of the house. Okay. And really, it was not talking about an actual house that you dwell in. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure when I look up this word house, they're gonna have something called bayath there, but it's not house. Okay. Yeah, you see bayath. Let's look up this Hebrew word here, bayath. Okay, you see house, dwelling, habitation, human bodies, figure, you know, by the house. Okay, house as containing a family, household. Okay, those belonging to the same household. But right here, what do you see? What does definition B says? Definition B says what? Family of descendants. Descendants as organized body. Okay. So this is talking about by the lineage. Descendants come from a lineage, a line. Okay. And a matter of fact, let's go to Google and let's type in descendants. Okay. Now I've done this before, so I'm gonna do it again. What is a descendant? A descendant. What is a descendant? Okay. What is a descendant of a person, right? A descendant is a person born in a direct biological line. Okay. And if you notice, they have the word children there. Now, when you look up the word children or children go back to the Hebrew words ban or banyum, which is where you get sons. A son is a male child. So again, a lineage goes back to the man. Okay, so your nationality is based on who your father is. So when it says by the house of their fathers, it's literally talking about your father's line, because a man is the only one that can continue a lineage or a line of people. Okay, it takes a man to continue a line or a lineage, and that happens through him having sex with a woman. Because remember, your body is made from your father's semen. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's come back over here. Okay, so we looked up that word. So let's go back to Romans now. Okay, so your nationality is based on who your father is. So the Lord said, so because, you know, our people provoked the Lord to jealousy, right? What did the Lord say? He said that he would provoke our people to jealousy by turning to those that are not a people. And Paul is literally reiterating it right here. Well, what the Lord said through Moses, Romans 10:19. But I say, did not Israel know? First Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people. This is talking about the Israelite Gentiles in the New Testament who were uncircumcised and basically was keeping the customs of the heathen. So they were called not a people. Okay. And by a foolish nation will I anger you. And yeah, our people were fools. The uncircumcised were fools because, I mean, they weren't fools willingly. They were born outside of their heritage. And when you're born outside of your heritage and you're born into a heathenistic society, you're going to keep the ways of the heathen wherein you were born at. So indeed, they were foolish, right? But here it is. You had the Jews, the Israelites who were circumcised, who were looking down on the uncircumcised, which is why when Peter went to Cornelius, what happened? You had a bunch of butthurt circumcised Jews who basically jumped on Peter's back. Like what are you doing? You see that? But guess what? Cornelius was an Israelite. Okay, and the proof of that was what? He feared the Most High. He prayed to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which takes what? Faith. And faith is not given to heathens. Faith is given to Israelites, to the saints. Okay, Psalms 148. Okay, but I say, did not Israel know? For Moses saith, I will provoke you to jealousy by them that are no people, and by a foolish nation will I anger you. But Isaiah, which is Isaiah, is very bold and saith, I was found of them that sought me not. Okay, I was made manifest unto them that asked not after me. Okay. But to Israel he saith, all day long I have stretched forth my hands unto a disobedient and gainsaying people. So guess what the Lord did? He put the spirit on Paul to turn to the Gentiles. And in case you didn't notice, this is Paul speaking right here. Okay, these are Paul's words. And this is basically what Paul is saying. You know. So now, right, when we go back to John, you see, when we go back to John chapter 10, verse 16, now it starts to make sense what Yahushua meant by, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring. Yahushua was talking about the Israelite Gentiles. And when was these sheep right here, which were not of this fold, you know, them that Yahushua must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. When was this fulfilled? When basically Yahushua raised up Paul to be a apostle to the Gentiles. That's when this was fulfilled. So John 10 and 16 is not talking about the other nations. Because here it is, the Lord got his men out there prophesying, and are the heathen repenting and calling on Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua? The answer is no. They're still worshiping their idols, their gods, okay? The heathen have their gods and their idols. Let them worship what they worship until Yahushua come back and put their ass in slavery. Okay? So John 10 and 16 are talking about Israelites who were called not a people, and who were called a foolish nation in Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. This is what John 10 and 16 is talking about. It's talking about the Israelite Gentiles who were uncircumcised. Okay, them, the Israelite Gentiles who were uncircumcised, keeping the heathenistic customs, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Okay. And if you look at it in today's time, right, we were all uncircumcised before we came into the truth. But when we heard this gospel, I'm not saying I'm of the elect, but I hope to be of the elect. What happened? We repented. We started calling on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And ultimately, we're hoping to be of the elect and to receive salvation. So this prophecy was fulfilled 2,000 years ago. And guess what? It's being fulfilled now. Okay. Prophecy is going to keep being fulfilled. You know, there's prophecies that already happened in the past, but are still happening now. John 10 and 16 was fulfilled 2,000 years ago. And guess what? It's being fulfilled in today's time. Okay. Malachi, the 4th chapter, where the Lord said that he would send Elijah, the prophet, before the great and notable day of the Lord. That was fulfilled 2,000 years ago through John the Baptist. And guess what? That prophecy was fulfilled again through Abba Bivens in this generation. So vocab Malone, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So you just need to shut up, man. Okay, there's no hope of salvation for heathens. Okay, when you read scriptures like Jeremiah 30 verse 16, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured. Okay, and all thine adversaries, every single one of them shall go into captivity. Okay, adversaries. If you're not an Israelite, you're an adversary to the nation of Israel, and know that you're going into captivity. So how the fuck are you going to receive salvation and go into captivity at the same time? It don't make any sense. Okay. And all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Numbers 23 verse 19. Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Have he said and shall he not do it? Or have he spoken and shall he not make it good? Okay. Malachi 3 and 6. The Lord don't change. Okay. Malachi 3 verse 6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Okay. Did every nation have a hand in putting us into captivity? Yes. The Hamites, when they were the Egyptians, had us in captivity. Okay. The Ishmaelites had us into captivity. Had us in captivity. Okay, the Japhetic people, when they came up into power as the Medes, had us in captivity. Okay, the East Indians, when they were the Persians, when the Persians and the Medes had control over Babylon, when the East Indians as the Persians had us in captivity. During the Babylonian time, they had us in captivity. Okay, the Edomites, when they rose up into power as the Greeks and the Romans, okay, they had us in captivity. Okay, Ammon and Moab had us in captivity. Okay, all you got to do is read the book of Judges. They had us in captivity. So guess what? Every single nation that led us into captivity shall go into captivity. Okay. And you heathens, you are the dogs who basically came and licked the wounds of Lazarus. Okay. And how did you do that? By setting up your shops over here, oppressing us, raising prices. Da 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 da. Like, you see what I mean? But Revelation 3 and 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. You see that? And in this generation, did not the so-called white man put us into captivity? Yeah, he did. So he has to go into captivity. Okay. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived. Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Colossians chapter 3, verse 25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong he have done, and there is no respect of persons. Okay. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And are we being troubled today? Yes, we are. We're being troubled on all sides. Okay. Lamentations. This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, thou that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup, which is what? Slavery, shall also be passed unto thee. Thou shalt make thyself thou shalt make thyself naked and shall drink the cup. Okay, you're going to drink the cup. Okay, the cup shall be passed unto thee. Okay, thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. So there's no getting out of it. Okay, the heathen are going into slavery. And if you're an Edomite, vocab Malone, your ass is going into slavery. Every nation that is not an Israelite is going to be a slave in the kingdom of heaven. Point blank, period. John 10 and 16 is talking about the Israelite Gentiles of the New Testament. Even the phone had to chime in on that one. So I'm going to end it there. With that, I'm going to say Shalom is on to the next one.